What are hypersonic weapons? Hypersonic weapons travel at least 5 times faster than the speed of sound. 5 times the speed of sound is roughly 4,000 miles per hour. At that speed, a hypersonic weapon could travel between New York and Beijing in about 1 hour and 40 minutes. Some weapons could travel even faster, up to about 20 times the speed of sound.
Hypersonic missiles are nothing new. China, Russia, and the United States have had them for years. In fact, ballistic missiles travel at hypersonic speeds. But ordinary ballistic missiles are on a set trajectory after their rocket motors burn out. Like a dart after release, they cannot change course. What's different with the new crop of hypersonic weapons isn't speed by itself. It's the combination of speed and maneuverability over long ranges.
How do hypersonic weapons work? There are 3 basic types: guided ballistic missiles, boost glide missiles, and hypersonic cruise missiles. Guided ballistic missiles are like normal ballistic missiles, but the re-entry vehicle, which carries the warhead back into the atmosphere after the missile shoots up through it, has steering fins attached to guide it to the target. Boost glide weapons are propelled to great speeds by rockets, just like ballistic missiles. But rather than arcing high above the atmosphere as ballistic missiles do, gliders re-enter the atmosphere shortly after launch. They rely on aerodynamic lift to stay aloft, potentially for thousands of miles without the use of an engine. The basic idea is the same as a hang glider. Hypersonic cruise missiles are powered throughout their flight. To keep flying at such great speeds over long distances, they need special scramjet engines. The speed of the missiles itself forces air into the engine, where it combusts at supersonic speeds.
Hypersonic cruise missiles are still in the works. China, Russia, and the United States are all conducting research into them. But only one country, Russia, appears to be close to deploying one, Zircon, which reportedly has a short range of about 300 miles. However, guided ballistic missiles and boost glide missiles have now been deployed, while new types appear to be close to deployment.
Who has what? Let's look at Russia first. Russia's Avangard is a long-range boost-glided missile. Its glider likely re-enters the atmosphere at around 20 times the speed of sound and is designed to deliver nuclear warheads against the United States. Russia also has many ballistic missiles that can do this. Kinzhal is a guided ballistic missile launched from an aircraft. It probably travels at less than half the speed of Avangard and has a reported range of around 1,200 miles. Russian President Vladimir Putin has stated that it can carry a nuclear or a conventional warhead. Next up, China. China has several guided ballistic missiles. Its furthest reaching is the DF-26, which can travel about 2,500 miles and likely re-enters the atmosphere faster than 10 times the speed of sound. Like Russia's Kinzhal, it can reportedly carry either a nuclear or conventional warhead. China also has a new boost glide missile, the DF-17, which it showed off in a military parade in October 2019. It's not clear whether this missile has been deployed, but if it hasn't yet, it probably will be soon. The DF-17 carries a glider and has a range of between 1,100 to 1,550 miles. It can reportedly be armed with a nuclear or conventional warhead. What about the United States? So far, it has not deployed any maneuverable hypersonic weapons. For much of the last 2 decades, the United States has focused on improving its ability to conduct prompt conventional strikes. To do this, its efforts have been focused on developing boost glide missiles that can carry non-nuclear warheads over many thousands of miles. Making sure that weapons of such long ranges are accurate enough to be effective, even without much more powerful nuclear warheads, presents daunting technical challenges. Nonetheless, the United States has made significant progress, including a successful test of a hypersonic glider over 2,400 miles in November 2011.
So is the United States falling behind? Well, not really. Although the United States hasn't yet deployed a maneuverable hypersonic weapon, its program is, in many ways, more sophisticated than either China's or Russia's. Recently, the administration of US President Donald Trump made the decision to deploy a hypersonic weapon as quickly as possible. And to make that happen, the United States is now focusing on shorter range systems that are less technically demanding than longer range ones. And those efforts are likely to lead the United States to deploy hypersonic weapons within the next few years. A three-way arms race is now well underway.
Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory honor that's due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, the great millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Real quick, man, this was a video that our brothers had posted in the chat room regarding hypersonic weapons. And if you notice, they named a lot of nations or nations that was going to be in cahoots with destroying Babylon the Great. All right, and they even stated that one of the quicker missiles, hypersonic missiles, which hypersonic goes into super speed, he even mentioned that they can get to the side of the world within an hour and 40 minutes. But then you even have some that can get to the side of the world a lot sooner than that. He said twice the speed of, 20 times the speed of light. So if somebody was to detonate an ICBM from Russia or Moscow, supersonic, hypersonic missile, or Satan II, that missile can literally get to the side of the world within 20 minutes, man. They've tested it. And if you paid attention, he stated that America haven't really deployed any navigational supersonic missiles. Though they have supersonic missiles, they haven't deployed the ones that can really navigate. Because, be honest with you, America, their whole battle is within their offense. Okay, they say games are won by defense. And America is strictly offense. Yeah, they have missiles and they have weapons of mass destruction, but they're dependent on their technology, okay, and their space weapons and, you know, their super drones and all these other things, you know, which they feel that they're field days ahead of the nations, but the other nations have other nuclear capability too. Okay, so what you're seeing in this video is pretty much the way that a Babylon the Great is going to go out, because if you look at the depictions here, when he's breaking it down, he's showing you through this illustration on how soon this missile can hit this side of the world. And the Bible tells you that because the scriptures say, I will make a speedy riddance of them that dwell in the land. Okay, so how is he going to make a speedy riddance? Hey, by roughly paraphrasing it, you know, these different nuclear missiles, man. You know? So with that being said, man, the Lord, he's nothing to play with. Come on, lady, I don't want to scrape my damn tire. Hold on, Slock it, man. This damn parking lot, this damn curve. So anyway, Slock, but yep. So anyway, the scripture said I will make a speedy riddance of them that dwell in the land. All right, so you have to understand that these nuclear missiles is going to be deployed and shot off on this side of the world. The scriptures goes into 200,000. That was the number of the horsemen. All right. So with that being said, that's supersonic missiles, ICBM missiles, Tomahawk missiles, because I believe Satan II can hold up to 20 warheads, if I'm not mistaken. Salakia, if I'm off on that. But you got certain weapons, man, that can hold up to 10 warheads on that. You know what I'm saying? And this is Bible prophecy. You know, I remember a while ago we had guys that fell out. We call them castaways. They was basically saying, well, the nuclear missiles, that don't exist. They don't have no 200 million nukes in the world. Well, how the hell you know what Esau got? The scriptures have called this man a sword for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you can't count him out as far as his weapons of mass destruction, because that's this man's blessing. And even then, if they didn't have 200 million physical nukes, you have certain warheads that can house up to 30 warheads, man. So that's not beyond the realm of possibility. And when John saw it in a vision, hey, you notice it was a precise number. It was a particular number. That number was very particular. So obviously that number is very significant according to the scriptures, man. And we can get it. But anyway, and he said that going back, he said something about these things when they are deployed they're not gonna, they can't, navigate and all this other. I mean, they can navigate, but he made a particular point at the beginning of the video on how when these things are shot, they're not gonna go back into their particular dwelling places. They're gonna hit the destined target, and the scriptures tell you that, man. It says here in Joel 2:7, and I'm gonna get the rest of the account, but it makes sense here. It says they should run like mighty men, they should climb the wall like men of war, and they should march every one of his ways, right? And that goes into what that dude said. He said, look, when they're shot, they're not going to post navigate. They're going to hit the destined target, So through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, hey, the Lord put the spirit on these devils to create these weapons of mass destructions, And it says here, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another, and they shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon a sword, they shall not be wounded, which the sword goes into this man, Esau Edom. Okay, he's the sword that the Most High is using in this time. Like the scriptures say, hey, the Most High created them to be the sword. So it makes sense that they have weapons of mass destruction, So going down to Joel 2:1, it says, blow you the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm of my holy mountain, and let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand, okay? And this is what we're doing. We're blowing a trumpet in Zion, warning our people to tell them to get right. The Most High is getting ready to destroy America, a.k.a. Babylon the Great. Put on the whole armor of the Most High and leave off your sins and repent. But, hey, Jake, they're not paying attention to the prophet. So, therefore, this is going to overtake them like a thief. And it says here, a day of darkness and of gloominess and a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been the ever like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations, because this is going to be the war to end all wars, World War III. Okay, there's not going to be a World War IV. Like it was a statement that they made, I believe it was after Albert Pike, because he broke down the concept of 3 world wars. And they said the 4th World War will be fought in sticks and stones because it's not going to be anything left. Because World War III is going to lead to the entire decimation of the Western Hemisphere, or the West, aka Babylon the Great. It says, a fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth. And the land is as Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. And nothing should escape them. That's right, man. Because, hey, like it showed you in Terminator 2, everything was all good. Everybody was at the park. They were chilling. They were having a good old gay old time. And all of a sudden, the flash came, and then everybody was turned into powder. Just like that. That's why it says, like, before them was a Garden of Eden, but behind them, a desolate wilderness. Because after missiles hit, this place is going to look totally different. You're not going to have trees. You're not going to have vehicles. You're not going to have light poles. This entire country that we're dwelling in is going to be the biggest desert on the face of the earth. And it says, in the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses. A horse represents strength, hence horsepower. And as the horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on top of the mountains, they shall leap. And like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble. And as a strong people set in battle array. Right, because when they shoot these things out of the silos, man, hey, they're not going to hit each other. They're not going to misconstrue or malfunction in midair. They're going to hit the destined target. Because this is the purpose of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, okay? That's why it says, like the noise of chariots on top of the mountains, they shall leap. Like the noise of a flame of the fire that devoured the stubble, and as a strong people set in battle array, because they're basically going to be in order. When you think of battle array is like a platoon, or order, a conductly order, And it says, before the face of the people should be much pain, and all faces should gather blackness, right? Because people are going to literally go into shock. Okay, they're going to literally go into shock, and it's going to be totally a power outage over here in the West. Because at this time, when this happened, you can expect a total breakdown of society, man. Okay, and this is just going to add the pudding to the cake, or the candle to the cake. And it says, and they should run like mighty men. They should climb the wall like men of war. Okay, a wall represents your defense. Okay, and as they were talking about America, they haven't really spent millions of dollars or billions of dollars upgrading their defense systems. Instead, they focus on the offense. It says, and they should march every one of his ways, and they should not break their ranks. All right, we read that already. And it says, neither should one thrust another, and they should walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they should not be wounded. It says, for they should run to and fro into the city, and they should run up the wall, and they should climb up upon the houses, and they should enter in the windows like a thief, right? Because they're going to bypass the systems. And then on top of that, you're going to have so many nations that's shooting rockets at this place to the point they're not going to have a chance to fend off every nuclear missile that hit this place. So they in for some shit, man. you know. And you people out here, you proud, you living up, you think everything is fun and games. But when this hits, you people are going to be pretty much running for your lives, man. Because, hey, they had movies on this. When the end came, people were scrambling for chips. People trying to hide into homes, basements. If you ain't got a bunker, even if you had a bunker, it wouldn't do you any justice. But if you ain't got the type of money the elites have to get off this planet or go to a different place that's not going to get touched, then your ass is grass, man. You know? And it says here, and the earth should quake before them, and the heavens should tremble, and the sun and the moon should be dark, and the stars should withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong and executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide in it? This is talking about the Third World War. World War III, a.k.a. the War of Armageddon, man. So I'm going to go back and play a little bit of this and, get some more points on it.
Cannot change course. What's different with the new crop of hypersonic weapons isn't speed by itself. It's the combination of speed and maneuverability over long ranges.
Right. So he said the concept of speed and maneuverability over long ranges. So after a while, like if you shoot a bullet, it loses its velocity. It loses its fortitude, so to speak. After a while, the bullet gonna drop. But these missiles, when they're shot, they're gonna have the same type of force that when they came out of the silo. That's why the scriptures say they should be as horses, because a horse represents strength and power. Okay? So that's an interesting concept. And this is why we read in the book of Joel, they should not break their ranks. You see, because, hey, when they're shooting certain missiles and defense guidance systems, hey, these rockets will be able to sidestep those, man, and get around the post navigation. Lord is bad, man, you know, and this shit finna get bad. All right. So this is the book of Isaiah 54:16. It says, behold, I've created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth the instrument for his work. I've created the waster to destroy. Now, if you go into the Oppenheimers, the Germans, you know, the more wise men of Teeman, they came up with the different uranium and metals and elements and what do you call it? Resources to create these bombs. You know, like the atom bomb. You got little boy, big boy. You got Satan 2. You know, you got several different Tomahawk type missiles. This man is this man can really destroy this planet 10 times over if the Lord allowed him to do that. Luckily, he's going to intervene. But it says here that bringeth forth the instrument for his work. I've created the waster to destroy. And the key is to really, and the primary goal is to destroy Babylon the Great. Because the sins, and you can read about that in the book of Jeremiah 50 and 51. Okay? So let's go from here to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, because this really breaks it down as well. 2nd Esdras 16, and I'm going to start at verses, let's start at 7. It says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? Okay, because the arrows are symbolic for the missiles. If you look at a warhead or a missile, you can see the tail of it or the front or the head of it. It looks like an arrow. It's just like a big ass bullet, technically. It says, and the mighty Lord sent the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? It says, a fire should go forth from his wrath. Who is he that may quench it? He should cast lightnings, and who should not fear? He should thunder, who should not be afraid? Verse 11, it says, the Most High shall threaten, and who should not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? Because those missiles is going to make a speedy riddance. It's going to decimate this place and the people in it. Lord's will we of the elect, therefore we get delivered, because we don't have to see the second death, which this is talking about the second death. It says, the earth quaketh and the foundation thereof. The sea riseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss. Right, goes into that navigational system, that target. When they have that, what they call it, that target when they lock on, you know, they lock on, they interlock on, or anti-lock. They lock on the target and they hit there. They say, well, look, we're going to shoot missiles in Chicago, LA, New York, Florida, Kansas City. Those missiles are going to hit these places because they're targeted. They're locked on, you know. And it says here, the arrows he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Okay, so what Esdras was writing is the ends of the world will be over here in the West, in America, you know. And it says, and behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and should not be put out to consume the foundation of the earth, which is America being destroyed. It says, and like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returning not backwards, even so the plagues that should be sent upon the earth should not return again. So, hey, man, the Most High is not fucking around with you people. It just, he's not messing around, man. Speedy Riddance. Hold up, let me find it. Yup, Zephaniah 1:18, it says here, I will bring distress upon men, that they should walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Most High, and their blood should be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Neither shall the silver nor gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land should be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he should make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Hence, look at this. What is the name of this? Let me go back. Yep, hypersonic.
What are hypersonic?
Hypersonic weapons, man. Okay. So, if I went here and type in icbm. All right. Now, if you look at these things, they look like arrows. All right. Look at the tips. These represents the arrows, man. This is why the Prophet Edris described them as being arrows, because they're locked on target. And the guy in the video, he described these as being darts. Isn't a dart an arrow? So the Most High was very on point with the prophecy, man. Okay. So our darts arrows. Okay, it says, as a noun difference between dart and arrow is that a dart is a pointed missile weapon intended to be thrown by hand. A short lance, a javelin, any sharp pointed missile. Missiles could be interchangeable with arrows. It says a short lance, a javelin, any sharp pointed missile weapon as an arrow, while arrow is a projectile consisting of a shaft and a point and a tail with stabilizing fins that is shot from the bow. So the ICBM is created out of a dart or an arrow. That's basically what it says, man. That's the code. That's why the scripture says nothing new under the sun. Things just evolved over time. Things become more advanced and technological wise, but there's nothing new under the sun. Okay, that's cold-blooded. So the book of Revelation. Let's go to the book of Revelation, the the 9th chapter, and it breaks it down too. This is the book of Revelation 9, and I'm gonna start at verses. Let's start at verses. Really, the 15th verse was good. Yep, let's start at verses 14. It says, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound by the great river Euphrates. Those are four archangels. It says, and the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay the third part of men. Third part of men is the Edomites, man, because every Edomite that's left on the shores of America when the nuclear destruction takes place, they're going to be destroyed. Okay, so this is set up for an appointed time. It says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. Okay, that was a direct and a precise number. Okay, that shows you that there's something significant about the weapons they're creating. All right, it says here, and thus saw the horses in a vision, which are the missiles, and them that sat on them, having blessed plates of fire and of jasmine and of brimstone. And the heads of the horses was as the head of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Okay, so look at this. We go back into ICBM. And pay attention, look at this. And this is just illustration of these rockets being shot off. Man, so the prophets describe these things as arrows. It looked like it, just a big arrow. That's all it is. And look, when it hit down, look, it's coming down head first. That's why it says here in Revelation, it says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinths and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the head of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. The head, the warhead. It says, for the power is in their mouth and in their tails. Why? Because the guidance system, propellers. It says, for their tails were like unto serpents, and heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works of their hands, that they should not worship devils of idol and gold, and of silver and brass and stone and of wood, and neither can see nor hear nor walk, neither repented of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. And that's talking about these demons that we're going to have to clean up on the different sides of the world, because everybody in America is going to be destroyed. If you ain't of the elect, you're going to die. It just point blank period. If you're not of the elect, you're going to die, man. Simple. And if you in America and you ain't beamed up, you are going to die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no negotiating. You're going to be destroyed. Okay? So, yep. Look up. This is basically another way of missile. This is the head, and they go to propeller. When it says that the power is in their heads and their tails, hey, how does this thing get leveraged? By the propeller in the back. That's why particular vehicles, planes, ships, submarines, they have what you call propellers. Okay, to help them guide their way through certain frequencies of waters, man. You know, it helps them to kind of stay particular. It helps them to stay on course with their travel. All right. How many warheads can a nuke? Oh. How many nuclear warheads can a missile? It says each missile could carry up to 14 warheads. Let me see what else. Satan 2 ICBM. Satan 2 nuke. How Russia's Satan 2 nuclear missile works and why it's so dangerous. You got the Tsar bomb too. So yeah, man, America's done. This place is finished. 50 megatons of nuclear weapon on you. You're gonna really have a bad day. Oh man, it's getting ready to get interesting out here, man. But anyway, I want to give all praises and glory, honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and a Baba Ball.